we'll have to go out to the outside corridor over here and work my way around. First thing first, I want to get back out to the corridor here. Of course, it's going to lead in multiple ways. That'll make things a bit more awkward. But yeah, it looks like we'll just continue north for the time being. Then we'll work our way west. Yeah, all these rooms are coming from the side area here. That explains a lot. So, just keep marching north for a bit. Yeah, just keep going north. So we find this guy who wants to kill me. Works for me. Let us get back our ebony katana and start whacking this guy to death. Alright, one west monk in this nightmarish place. Okay, so we have a doorway here. Mostly a lot of corridors and pieces. Might as well go east though first, because this is... Hi there! Let's see here, let's get rid of you, who's like everyone else I've encountered. Tell you, how many the same can you face? This game is not very good for variety, if you were looking for that. Everything just starts to blend together, and eventually you kind of get somewhere. Remember a skeleton? Absolutely empty room. I hear the orcs. What is that? Orcs. Yep, they're over here. Orc wasn't about to be the thing to finish me off today. Okay, we have one final room to the south. And that, of course, leads nowhere. So, this is a series of rooms completed. And now we have a bit more practicality on this map. I'll start working our way east. Or should I say west? Let's just call it west and call it a day. Oh god, skeleton. That was quick reactions. Works for me. Killed another thing. Oh god, another skeleton. Oh, no, not dungeon find. I'll save his temple to bad god again. Can I heal up here? Be convenient. And I can. Alright, time to continue my wandering to this room. Whatever this room is. Well, that was a useless room. So now we want to start working our way south, I guess. South and west-ish a bit more, but nonetheless. A fountain. Good for ambience. I see, so we're actually going a bit south and get into another little section. Before we get down there, let us check out this one room filled with skeletons. Wow. Well, that's where all the skeleton noises were coming from. Something's coming from here. Ghost! Die! Lots of random rooms that lead nowhere, really. But at least now that we've explored them, we should have a general idea where we're going. And we don't have as much to worry about in exploration. Because if we look, we have that way. We have this corner still, but this corner's a lot less than it used to be. A lot less tiny rooms. Since a lot of these rooms end up just being expansive nothingness. Okay, so we just might keep going south, go westish, and then we'll be somewhere. Just keep walking this way, and then where am I going? This way. Third door down is a little hazy, so I'll check that one out while I'm here. Yeah, right? Yep, and that looks better already. Now that we mapped that out a bit better than we did, for whatever reason. I guess it's northbound we go. No other reason to stick around here. Really, this is the only way to actually get to this side, if you note. That's interesting, too. It's just a long corridor leading to stuff. Oh, this has to be a dead-end area, so let's check this out. Yeah, I wouldn't want the buckler anyway. So it's kind of good that it was full, because already I prevented myself from picking up absolute junk. So much walking around for really no reason. Oh, that's one more room. It looks like it's going to curve. It don't look like we have too many rooms left on this side. Which is good because then we can actually start checking out the main area of interest, which is the riddle. If there's a riddle, there's probably a riddle. I'd say there's a riddle door here. Well, this is interesting. A hole in the wall. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Usually they're always raised surfaces. A hole in the wall. Well, that's different. Not that big of a deal, but it's something. Mixes it up. Oh, look, a bunch of wolves. And the hole which they can get through. But yeah, this is the end of this side. That way now, if you look around at all the corners, we'll see there's really no way to get around besides here. Just that one corner of the map left. Which is, of course, the area with our diamond. Or the way to 4-3, but I don't really think there's going to be a 4-3. Based on the fact that they mentioned the storage area. It sounds like this is the second floor, the main floor of this. The idea is that it was supposed to be in the central area, but they moved it. So, want to go northeast, basically. So, yeah, you want to go an awkward way. So it's basically north and then southish. I have a general idea where I'm going. Like this. And you might come out down here. Then where am I going from here? Either way around. And then north. This will map out one of the rooms that's kind of like hazy looking. Just jump right over here. I'm out. And make sure I've met this. See, this is the area with the leash. So that's over there. So we'll head south. And really, there's only one way forward, if you note. Yeah, this can't be linked up, so really, there's only one way to go. And that's here. One way forward. Oh, a potion. That's something I want to keep. Let's see here, what potion is this? Okay, this is a junk mark. Very, very weak one. Probably only sell for a very small amount. So I'll take the potion instead. Okay, we made it to an intersection. Go a bit south, I guess. I don't really know where I'm going. What's the fact of the matter that it has the guys who are making the noise? It's always convenient to get rid of. What's the fact of the matter that it leads to the rooms that are semi-explored, so we can clear out all that. That way I don't get confused on what I explored and what I didn't. Since we're working our way anyway this way. I know anything in front of me I haven't explored. Yeah, see, if you look, this is all going to interconnect. So if I head around here, this way is going to lead to stuff I've been to. Here is just a small room. Just keep going this way. Another useless room. Paralyzed time. Ow. This is why we paralyze them. Because we miss a bunch. On every single monk. I figure it's the way where the wraith is probably where the treasure is going to be. Because usually, like I said, wraiths usually signify something important. Unless you're talking the Elden Grove, in which case everything was a wraith, but that was the exception to a rule. Heal up here since we have a little nice healing area. Let's start marching up. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. have all this stuff marked up. So yeah, now it's just going this way north. Again, we've kind of linked up everything and have only one way to go. That's down here. Okay, room number 1 is a bunch of barrels. Be perfect for Donkey Kong. Well, this looks a little different in appearance. Plus, it's probably closer to where the leash is, so yeah. What am I saying? Leash. Wraith. Gotta remember that. But yeah, this is the only area with like another doorway, so this is probably where we need to go. Knowing this game and how I'd probably do it. But before we get there, let's take out some of these neighboring guys. After all, look at that, there's a little healing area. Which could be very helpful. Oh, come on, why did my sword go away? I don't know why my sword suddenly will fall off. See, this room doesn't have that way around. That gives me more of an idea that probably that way is the way towards the goods. The corpse on the ground, the mark. Let's see here. What can I get rid of for the mark? Anything that's not really like a big sacrifice. His belt's pretty weak. Probably a mark, if anything, would probably be better than that. Belt. So their enemy's still nearby. But he ain't in this room, so it's probably the room across. We're gonna just save here and prepare for a monk, probably. Or it'll just be an empty room. Game, what is your deal? There are enemies nearby, but I'm not seeing enemies nearby. Not sure what that's about. Aha! Let's see, let's get the paralyzation thing. Be at the rate for him to paralyze. Come at me, bro. Aha! This is where he comes from. And he was paralyzed to a wall, so good luck to him. Now that I know where you are worm food. Where's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Who is your daddy? Oh god. I heard that. Oh god, I'm dead. I'm dead. -4? Yeah, I'm definitely dead. Wow, my health was -4. Well, that was awkward. Having negative 4 health is never a good thing. Freaking monks everywhere that are going to prevent me from doing anything. They're there, they exist, they're a thing, and now I must paralyze them to death. Regardless of how much of a pain it is to paralyze them. Okay, take you out of the way. Okay, one dead. But when I went in there was another one, so yeah. Here, get my paralyzation out. What? It just went through him! Seriously? Cheap game. Okay, we got rid of that one. The katana that I have to check out. So let's drop this piece of junk and pick up another piece of junk. And let's see here. It's a katana. Regular katana. Yeah, I don't usually figure these enemies have any magical stuff, but have to check. Okay, we need to heal up. Let me get onto this ledge. No, I don't want to rest for a number of hours. I want to rest until fully healed. Ow. Hey, I don't know. Is there like monks constantly spawn here, or what's going on? Banzai! Not gonna help me at all. I have to be ready with paralyzation to paralyze these monks that are trying to hurt me. And just hope for the best. Well, that didn't work too well at all for me. I couldn't even see him. There is the game. What deep is this? There are no enemies in here. I have to rest in order for the enemy to appear. But yet... you would think it would be nice if there was a... oh, there he is, there he is! He's going to appear from that corner. Oh, insufficient base memory. Crash this again, and let's go to back up, because, you know, this is totally fun. The game constantly crash on me. No, I don't want to drop the chain graves. I want to paralyze this one little enemy in the corner that keeps spawning and killing me like a cheap little in the butt. Okay, where's the door? There's the door. If I could get on this ledge and be ready to aim. See, even doing that. That's the coin he comes from right there. Yeah, so this is gonna be a pain in the butt. I have it like out and ready so that way I could rest. No, it will crash the game. Brilliant. Okay, reload it. Because, reloading over and over and over, trying to get something to stop crashing is definitely what we wanted. Ow. See, I'm moving back isn't going to help me because I'm going to fall into the base of the structure. Okay, there's that. Okay, that's one less annoying monk. Watch as it turns out a bunch more of a sudden suddenly appear every single time I try and rest here for some reason. So try this again. Alright, there we are, finally. Now we got some healing. That means we can actually make progress. Specifically, through that doorway up here. So it's like we come through here. Another doorway. And this leads to a mystery area. Specifically, the locked door of stuff. So, time for this riddle. I knew it! Okay. So, what does this riddle have to tell me? The area above the door is inscribed with the following. What flares up and does a lot of good, and when it dies, is just a piece of wood. What? What flares up and does a lot of good, and when it dies, is just a piece of wood? Flares up. What flares up? A tree? That's what I'm thinking, a tree would flare up, does a lot of good because of the fruits and whatnot, and then when it dies, it's just a piece of wood. That's the only thing I can think of when it dies, it's a piece of wood. And it fits with everything else. So, I'm gonna say tree. That's why I got into this. Tree. Sadly, nothing happens. Tree. Okay, so I can keep trying over and over. So now we gotta try and figure out how to get through this thing. So it's not tree. What flares up, it does a lot of good, and when it dies, it's just a piece of wood. Does a lot of good. Something that does a lot of good, and it's just a piece of wood when it dies. When it dies. That's the thing, a tree fits that. A tree, no. What flares up does good. When it dies, it's a piece of wood. Flares up. What flares up? Okay then, this one's going to be a difficult one for me again. And PhD by this point has given up on me, so we are totally alone. Good luck to me. Let's see here. Flares up does a lot of good, and when it dies, it's just a piece of wood. Let's think. It flares up. Does good, when it dies, it's just a piece of wood. See, when it dies, it's just a piece of wood. It's either a tree or like a construct of man, like a... flares up. What flares up? What does that mean? That would, like I said, you know, when I think of flaring up or something, a house? Because it grow, you know, you build it up or something, it flares up. House. No. Huh. What flares up, it does a lot of good. When it dies, it's just a piece of wood. Wait a minute. No, but I'm thinking something along the lines of like a campfire. A campfire! Would it just be a fire? Because it does a lot of good. It keeps you warm. It flares up. It causes a fire. And when it dies, it's just a piece of wood. It's something along those lines. Fireplace. What flares up, it does a lot of good. When it dies, it's just a piece of wood. Campfire. That's the thing. I think of like a campfire or something. It flares up. It lights up and whatnot. You know, it does a lot of good. It does a lot of warmth. And when it dies, it's just a piece of wood. It's just a piece of wood on the ground. It flares up. It does a lot of good. And when it dies, it's just a piece of wood. That's the thing, there's even a picture of a campfire there that's gonna drive me crazy now. Would it just be a camp? A log? Flares up, it does a lot of good, and when it dies, it's just a piece of wood. That's the thing, a lot of things. Because anything that's like a fire would flare up and do a lot of good, and when it dies, it's just a piece of wood. Flares up. A torch! A torch! That's it, that's it, it's gotta be a torch. It's gotta be a torch. The door moves slightly as the lock disengages. There we are. My god, that took a bit, but I figured it out. Torch. But this is interesting. There's a lot of raised areas around here. Well, we'll have to check that out in a second. But first of all, we found a diamond. You have found the diamond Coram Ashleen sent you to recover. Only he can use it to see the Crystal Tower's location. Alright. So we got what we came for. Now it's just a fact of matter of, well, getting out of here. And before we get out of here, what exactly is this about? I think I just found a way out of the map. I'm scared. I found a way out of the map. Help? Wow, I found like a weird way out of the map. Yeah, I don't think they were intending you to get up here or something. I'm not sure, but this is really weird. So yeah, if you go like here and follow this around, see what's this? And if I just head out this direction, wow, we're finding absolute the absolute void of nothingness. This is what happens when you leave a dungeon. It says what's the outskirts of a dungeon. Yeah. So this isn't really intentional from what I'm seeing. It's just a way you can abuse it just because it's very easy to just jump up here and then crawl out. Not exactly sure why that's designed like that, but it's a thing. And I could explore all the way out there, but there's no benefit. It's just the empty void of nothingness. Well, at least we have the diamond. Now it should just be a simple return journey. Let me guess it's not going to be that simple, but I'll definitely try and make it sound simple. You know what we should probably do is rest. Because I think there was a bed. Well, there's a bed all around it. You know, the entire thing's pretty much a bed. So I can rest right here. Ta-da! Now we're ready to get out of this mess. Very straightforward. Any which way you really will get out of here will be good. Just need to get out. And then, of course, we have the mess of ways here that I need to figure my way out of. Yeah, I think I might go west, then south. Where did you come from? Don't know where he came from, but he's dead now. You couldn't just let me walk through these corridors isolated, could you? You had to appear and ruin my day. Well, thanks a lot, buddy. Okay, so now I want to go southish. Basically south to the intersection and west and kind of south again. That way we get to the main area here and just get our way around. Right now we're going straight south. And we want to keep going until we hit... No, we just want to go east from here. East and south. And this should eventually lead to a little alcove. Kite shield, it's not going to help me. There's my health, that way I'm not lower in health than I should be. And, let's get out of this mess. Now I want to go south and then, yeah, it's right over here. It's like you come over here, you open this up. Where am I going? There's a dungeon door around here somewhere. There we are. We'll save right here. And we'll get to floor 1. Hello, I'm back here. You wish to kill me? So let's see here. What's the most efficient way to get out of this mess? I mean, for some reason now my waterways are like less mapped in, but we've been up there. So, I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is going north a bit. See here, the best way to go to get out of here would probably be, I keep clicking along runs. It's there, go straight south, there, this room, then south, this way, across, there. Seems to make sense to me. Simple enough to get in and out of here. If you know. Oh yeah, it's right here has the hellhounds. Alright, so from here we just want to cross over. Then start going north. Yeah, cross this room. this way. Then we want to go north. From the doorway down here. How about free healing before I leave, by the way? That would be best served by going... Man, there's no real way to get free healing unless I returned all the way back. Gonna bang your doors. With unguard skeletons. Random troll. Oh, look, a monk. Now, of course, we have these skeletons right at the beginning. So here, we have our safe zone. A way that we could get out of here without getting killed by anything. But before we leave, we do have that troll is regenerating message, so I want to go back here and take care of that troll. Just because this troll's gonna be a thing. Yeah, see, that's the awkward thing about it, is the fact that the troll's gonna be in a weird place. Oop. Need to switch swords again. We need our firestorm, because otherwise I don't think they die with melee. Ow. That didn't work too well. Wow! Memory was blown! Wow, that was horrible. RIP headphone users. Wow, that was terrible. My god, I'm terrible and great at breaking this game. And again, this game is very, very easy to break. That explains a lot. My god, it's just... Uh-oh. I see you over there. And I don't like you at all. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna paralyze you. Just that way you can't do anything to me. And yeah, I can play you as a piñata. I have 358,000 XP, so definitely wonder when I'm getting the next level. Yeah, we know there's a troll, and we know it's regenerating. Actually, could we lifesteal from this guy just to be a punk? Aw, we can't. I'd actually like to do, if I could, I'm gonna try and paralyze this guy. And of course it shot completely over him. Of course. That didn't work like I planned at all. I was a fool, and now I shall pay the ultimate price. Who'd have guessed? You've only told me this 100 times before. Hey, let's see here. Firestorm. I choose you. Oh god. You require multiple shots. Which isn't bad if I can actually get a rhythm. There's a sword. G. Why isn't... Oh, it's an H. That's why. And the H key instead of the G key and messed everything up. Bam in the face. That is the difficulty of this, is the fact that you have to really... There we are. Okay, one less freak of nature in this hellhole establishment. If I work my way north, no, because that area was actually just raised surfaces. So all this wouldn't matter. The only way that matters. I swear these guys respawn. Now I want to go this way across here, down south here, across here, I think down here, and guard orc. Not fall in the water because that's not going to help me at all. And we can rest right up here. Aha! That way now, we're getting out of here with a lot more health than about to die, because running around in the city like that is probably going to be painful. So, this works a little bit better. I think it's this way. Kind of wander around aimlessly and get in there. Surprisingly, there was no monk to kill me, so maybe it only spawns a certain number. But in any event, I made it to the end of this place without finding any enemies, which in turn means I get full health. Alright, time to get back to town. Somerset Isle. We want to go to Riddle and Drill. That works for me. Insufficient base memory! That's always good. Wow. We cannot get anywhere without an error message. This is amazing. And this is why we save like crazy. Save before every doorway, save before everything. In this game, you want to save like crazy. Why? Because the fact of the matter that's so unstable that otherwise you're going to crash a bunch. And not make any progress whatsoever. Okay, back to Lilendril, and this time hopefully we'll actually make it there. Otherwise we'll be stuck infinitely in this dungeon. Okay, and the nearest one is right down there. Going across. Here we are. Okay, walk over here. We want to get, it's 40 in the evening. Yeah, we need a long room. Everyone likes the single. Sometimes the cheapest, worst room you can get. But, you know. Okay, and we want, like, 13 hours. Okie dokie, now we want to get out of this mess of an establishment. Okay, we're back to the land of the Simpsons. Springfield. Trying to figure out where the weapon shops are. I think they're all pretty much in one area. So you want to go a bit southish. And this should eventually lead to some weapon shop somewhere. Or just allow me to fall in the water. Either way. More inns. Because, you know, what we really need was a bunch more inns in this place. There's the Mages Guild. Which is good if we're trying to get plot. Just go west. This way. It's south and west. This will lead to some taverns. Now if I go a little bit more west. There we are. We can sell our junk here. Alright, time for the usual junk selling extravaganza. $37.50. Can we get 6,000 for it? You ain't dealing with a moron! Wow, this guy is not happy. You have to give me a much lower price if we're gonna top. That's what the plate helm costs new! $1,850. Roger 8 says 4,880. 35. 1,871. 1,870? Yep, so that's exactly what it's going to cost. 1,870. Okay, time to get to our rhythms of selling. Because gotta love this part, right? You love it to watch, I love it to play. It's definitely fun. 852. 61. Alright. 61 it is. After we have to make a profit after all that junk we got last time. You won't be sorry, let's finish it up. Alright. That way, we're starting to already work our way back up to that 200,000 we had before. Decent sort of plate helm if you like that kind of thing. We get 100,000. Nope. Yeah, sure, I made out of gold. Give me another price to get out of my shop. $8.10. Between $8.10 and $8.50. So it's between $8.10 and $8.20. Just gonna keep going. $8.11. $8.15. $8.12. $8.11 exactly. Okay. $8.99, $8.05, $8.08, $8.09. $8.09, okay. Sounds like a fair amount to me. Let's see here, we got all that junk to sell. That crystal and the mark. We'll sell those two. $750. Can we get 1,000? 900? 950. 970? 990. 980. Between 970 and 980. 975. 978. 978. 979. 978 exactly. Okay. Oops. Hit the right button. That's 41. 49. 63. 70. 74, 76, 76, fine. Now we just keep going until we get... Oh, 76. Whoopsie. I blanked out. Now we just keep staring until we get to 76. That works. Now we have a crystal to sell, which is probably going to go over 100,000. $100,000 exactly. Okay. $58, $79, $89. No, no, no. No way. $58, $79, $89, $94, $97, $98. Can we make it a $99? Nope. Works for me though. So that one, and there we are. So we were 199,000. Pretty good amount. Here is that sort of thing. Okay, now we got bracelets to sell. Identical plus 10 of strength bracelets. Which are going to cost a bit. Look at that. 100,000 at least. 100, 300. 301. Wait, no. Let's see here. 350. 1310. 1330. 40. 45 and 49. The 0, 1, 3, 4, 6 or 1, 3, 4, 5. One, three, four, five. All right. We go 5, 25, 35, 40, 42. All right, 42. Works for me. That way now we have 200,000. Now let's do the same thing here. Works for me. Now we're at 202,000. Basically making up all that for the ebony. Look how fast we got our money supply back. We had any concerns about losing money? Well, this just kind of proved why that would be negatable. Okay, belt. 2906. That definitely is going to be 3,000. We'll hit 4,000. 3,700. Can I get 3,900? 3,700 something. 3,750. 3,770. Between 3,770 and that's full number. 3,790. 3,785. Would just be 3,780. Okay. $561, 60, 25, 52, 56, 73. All right. Now we'll go to the cycle again until we get to 73. There we are. Now we got some more gold. This piece. 937. Yep, 1,100 exactly. $59, 79, 89, 94, 97, 98. Now we just keep selling this junk. Get our 98. Works for me. Next one. 468. Probably get 600, right? 6. Yeah, see? Wow, he snapped for 1 piece more gold, didn't he? Get out of my store! How dare you demand that it costs $1 more than you offered before? They definitely have very bad personality disorders if you ask for $1 more than they wanted to spend. You might as well have asked for 50,000 more. The way they overreact. We still have some amulets, and of course the potions. Of course all the identified stuff I still like, because we still haven't leveled. We have 2 different potions, I have no idea what they do. And we have these 3 amulets. 2 -2, so they're pretty weak. Then we have one that's a bit more. It's 937, it's 1100, so we'll do that one again because that's fresh in my head. So there's one of them done. Now let's sell the 2 cheaper ones. Oh, 234. That probably won't get 300, will it? Not 301. Alright. I think I could get 299 out of this, if I remember correctly. Let's sell the other one. That way we can get through this, get some cheap cash, and get out of here. Alright. Well, thank you. You gave me 1 less coin than what it cost new. Alright, so the only things left that we haven't checked out are the potions. Which we'll identify when we go get the diamond done. So that's the next step, is to figure out where the crystal tower is, which is simple enough, just basically finish up this quest, and then identifying the 2 potions that we have. Yeah, east a bit north. It's like this way. We're looking for a giant freaking structure. Yep, just keep going this way, I'm doing the right thing. There it is. Okay, so we're in here. So when we go, let's talk to this guy. Well done, Ricky the Drunkard. You have done this guild a service it will not easily forget. I thank you for your efforts. Now for my part of the bargain. Coram walks to a table where an ornately penned map lies. There he focuses a shaft of light through the diamond. A moment later, he inscribes the location of the Crystal Tower, somewhere in the Somerset province, onto your map. Brilliant. So before we get out of here, we need to detect the magic on our 2 potions. So I know what potions I'm using. Potion of Purification, whatever that means. Where's the Potion of Purification? A Potion of Healing, okay, that's nice. Always could use healing potions. That's easy enough to understand. So let's see here. We got a Potion of Healing. which I do understand at least. But what on earth is a potion of purification? Okay, what does that even do? I have no freaking clue. You know what? I'm going to look in the manual. So let's see here. Let's pull up the manual. Let me just look up here. You know, let's look online to get the manual out. And let's see here. Words. Staff icon, mouse controls, cities, quests, temples. Where what was I looking for again? Random guilds. I don't even know how that matters at all. Seriously, we have like a whole section on guilds here. Oh, I was looking for the potion of purification, that's right. But yeah, we have like stuff talking about like the Thieves Guild, the Mages Guild, the Dark Brotherhood, the Blades, the Necromancers, the Wolf Rats, the Ender King. They do a lot of details on stuff, even though it's like, yeah. You know, different random guards. You know, a guard, normal heavy grunt, sergeant a little faster and stronger. You know, yeah, there's a lot of details on this that really do not matter at all. And don't really affect us at all in the game. So let's see here. Where are potions? Let me type in purification. Upon casting a spell, the caster is healed 100 health points, cured of any poison, and enveloped in a sanctuary spell that will cause other creatures to ignore him or her, but from which the caster can still cast its offensive spells. Oh. Yeah, it's basically one of the most powerful spells in the game. Really, the only thing more expensive than this is God's Fire. Unleashes a bolt that envelops a single target. And basically, for a high level, will destroy anything. So, yeah. Lots of spells in here, lots of interesting stuff. Yeah, and then we have a lot of different magical spells or whatnot that I haven't really seen or whatnot. Okay. So the most important thing to get from that is the fact that this purification would basically is a 100% heal potion. Basically allows for 100% health. Because to cure poison, yeah, I really don't care. I still haven't cured poison, I've never needed to use it, because I don't know what even is poisonous. Seriously, what is even poisonous in this game? Anyway, with all that in mind, the next area we'd be going is, of course, the Crystal Tower, which is right here. That, of course, will be saved for next time. As usual, it's a good place to probably stop right between the dungeons, where we have basically everything set. We have our 4 awesome swords. Let's see here, are they good condition? This is slightly used, but still it's a decent amount. Almost new, and both have very good charges. Yeah, now we of course have all these bracelets that are an ebony belt of luck, bunch of torques, to boost up stats. Needless to say, I really need to get better in stats. Hey there. Not sure what I'm asking you about, but sure. It's actually just some random work rumor. No jobs? Really? General. Probably something going on elsewhere in Somerset, but not in Lilladrill. And that's a story. Just random talking to an NPC and then we cut out. Alright, so nothing really too eventful this time around, as always. We basically just did 4-2 at the Temple of the Mad God. We basically cut it half and half, but it actually kind of works out because the way this is, it turned out to be a 3-hour video anyway. So even with just 1/4 of it, yeah, that 1/4 ended up taking like 2 hours of exploration. So yeah, it was a pretty long thing to really get through. So with all that in mind, that was probably the most Iron Golems we've seen in the game. All of a sudden, they started throwing a bunch of Iron Golems at us. So yeah, this is the first place since the Labyrinthian that has had Iron Golems, which is nice, to see some Iron Golems walking around. And the monks were nice, so they kind of were everywhere. It was painful enough. It really, though, was pretty much uneventful. It was pretty much like Stonekeep or something. It was just a bunch of rooms. It was pretty basic design, bunch of rooms, some waterways in the first place. Second one was just a maze of corridors of rooms. It really was nothing to write home about at all. Nothing really that stood out. There was nothing that really said Temple of the Mad God to me. It didn't feel like a temple too much. It just was a place with stuff. Yeah. So it definitely was on the lesser side for dungeons. Wasn't one of the most interesting ones in the least. But on the upper side of things, it was one that introduced us to a new type of enemy that we've never seen before, the monk. And we got to see a bunch of Iron Golems, which, like I said, we kind of were stunted on before. It was like, up to this point in the game, we've never really gotten to see a bunch of Iron Golems. There was like 2 in the Labyrinthian, but really, there wasn't many. It didn't feel like they were that big of a threat. Now it feels like they're pretty prevalent. And luckily, we have gotten used to our paralyzation. Honestly, it feels like my swords I have are a great combination altogether. I'm very, very happy. And also, if you notice, my ebony katana lasts a lot longer than, say, my previous swords. I could do the entirety of that dungeon, the Temple of the Mad God, without having to switch swords, which was a much better thing than I used to have to deal with. With the Daikatana, every single dungeon, it would break. I never had a dungeon that my Daikatana wouldn't break. So it ended up getting very, very annoying as I ended up having to switch swords partway through a dungeon and waste a bunch of charges. This time around, we just kind of got through it and was able to use the Daikatana throughout the entirety of this thing. Well, the regular katana, I don't have a Daikatana, but just we were able to use the katana through the entirety of this thing without really any problems whatsoever. So it worked out really, really well. And we still have pretty good life on everything. I'm not seeing really like anything's too bad and worn down or anything. So with all that in mind, it looks like it lasts a lot longer if we use ebony or something. So yeah, it gets rid of an extremely frustrating and annoying element of the game, which is having to repair things constantly and having it break in the middle of every dungeon. Now it's like we actually have time to prepare, build up, and get ready. Yeah. So, Iron Golems! Absolutely nightmarish freaks of nature, but we got through it and killed a bunch of them. And beyond that, it was pretty uneventful. Door after door after door after door of just empty rooms. The second floor did have a lot more rewarding exploration, so I can't exactly say it was terrible for exploration. It wasn't like Celine's Web where it just didn't feel rewarding at all. Um, but it's still it was like Stonekeep. That's the best way of putting it. Like I said before, it's pretty much it was a lot like that design of just being basic rooms. Nothing to that really felt like its own individual image or really that interesting. It was just a dungeon to delve through and kill things. No real nice theme, no real interesting setup. It just was get through it and get to the other side. And that's kind of probably the most depressing thing is the fact that a lot of these end up kind of becoming pretty bland and blended in. It feels like by this point in the game, a lot of the earlier dungeons felt like it had its own identity. And by this point in the game, it feels like they pretty much just said, we're just going to throw together some dungeons that are um, pretty standard stock. It was like the Elden Grove was extremely unique in what it did, and it stood out for being very, very unique. It had frustrating mechanics with the boats and whatnot, but you could say it was extremely unique in what it did. Um, then it was like with the Temple of Agamemnus, it was an absolute rehash of everything and really was completely forgettable. And like I said, this is like the Temple of Agamemnus in the regard that it's pretty much just a regular dungeon. Like I said, the one thing is that it's somewhat more favorable because it did introduce new enemies. Um, and because it did give us a bit of fair challenge. It wasn't like, just tedium. It was actually difficult opponents that we were going against, Iron Golems and Monks. Um, it took a bit for us to get to the Iron Golems, but when they started coming in a fair amount, and it made for an interesting thing because we haven't really seen many. So it really brought back an element that was definitely missing. But with all that in mind, we still have a lot of, you know, I guess a lack of spirit. Nothing has lately felt like something standoutish. Like, Fang Lair felt like a dungeon delve thing and looked really, really unique when we saw it. And when we did, Stonekeep was pretty bland, but when we got to Yellen Grove, that one stood out amazingly. And Fortress of Ice looked pretty nice. That's the only one that we've seen with using that texture set at all. And made like nice underground areas and whatnot filled with snow. So we had some dungeons in earlier game that really stood out for being totally unique for the time or whatnot. Yeah, we had some dungeons that didn't. Um, like but then we had like even if you want to say it, Celine's Web just for the weirdness and the fact that Celine's Web also had like different special areas like the mating dens and all different little areas that kind of stood out. It definitely wasn't my favorite dungeon at all. I wasn't that big on it, but at the same time, it did have a lot of nice individual areas, even if it didn't really reward you for but it did at least have, areas that stood out and whatnot, such as the mating dens or the training area or different stuff like that. These dungeons, they just feel like they all kind of blend together and they're kind of just to get through. Um, I guess the closest could be the Halls of Colossus lately because of the whole key hunt thing, but yeah, it just was basically a large dungeon with a key hunt. And the key hunt wasn't exactly that big of a deal because we've had semi key hunts in the past. It's just nothing as big as the Halls of Colossus was in the key hunt. So it just made it a bit more tedious, and it had some annoying riddles at the end too that really weren't fun to get through at all. So yeah, at least the difference between every other riddle in the Halls of Colossus was the fact that the Halls of Colossus required like mathematical stuff and required like knowledge of the world around you and like going to certain areas compared to every other one which basically asks you something and is basically a standard riddle. Like this one basically had you trying to figure out that it was a torch. Um, and it basically you had to think, how it all worked together and whatnot, and eventually you kind of get to the answer. As you saw, it started with me thinking, what did I even start out thinking it was? I think a tree? 'Cause I was thinking something that sprouted up, and then I started thinking fire. And I started going through things that'd be lit up and whatnot, and sources of warmth and fire. And I was thinking campfires and fireplaces and all that. And eventually it just kind of struck me that a torch does the exact same thing and is a singular piece of wood, which was kind of the big problem with all the other ideas I had, was the fact that if you do a campfire or a fireplace or all that, usually you're going to have multiple pieces of wood. So it wasn't exactly the fault of that riddle that I kind of wasn't getting that part. It was kind of like I had to think it out or whatnot and eventually get to what the true answer was. So it was a pretty fair riddle. Just like the ones in the Elden Grove were pretty fair, and a lot of the other ones in the game were, I'm not the best at riddles, and definitely some of them can be, difficult for me to get through. And I'm not a big fan of the concept of riddles in this game, just because of the fact of the matter that they're puzzles, they're not, challenge. Because after you know the answer to the riddle, you could easily blast through it every single time and know exactly what the answer to the riddle is. If you know the answer, you can get right through it. And to me, I'm not a big fan of you know it, you can do it. I rather it be something that is a challenge, something that can be solved in multiple ways, and it doesn't just require prior knowledge to get you through it without no challenge or difficulty. But I digress. Anyway, I've been rambling for quite a few minutes. I usually end up doing that, but that's beside the point. Anyway, next time around we shall check out the Crystal Tower. So yeah, hopefully it will be a bit more interesting than the previous ones. I mean, I'm starting to lose a bit of faith that we're going to see something that stand outish like we used to. But then again, they might have thrown in a bunch of stock dungeons and then bring in something really amazing. Who knows? They might all of a sudden suddenly throw out like a jaw opener. I mean, I guess a jaw opener in this game wouldn't be that great. Um, Elder Scrolls Arena isn't really the best game for it, in my opinion, just because it's kind of based on a similar design. You can't really deviate too much from it. Um, but yeah, it would still be nice to see something that's a bit more thematic and something that's really standoutish. And like I said, Elden Grove wasn't too bad with that. So yeah, that's something that I kind of liked. Um, like I said, overall though, if you haven't seen from how my video kind of series is going and how I kind of was talking this one, eh, Elder Scrolls Arena is not exactly my, very good game in my opinion. It is very repetitive, gets very bland at a lot of points, and it feels like the same thing over and over and over. It's nice for some nice dungeon delving, if you just feel like that, or if you want some random walk around and do more dungeons. But the fact of the matter that it doesn't really offer much, and is just basically constant dungeon delving and very similar things that tend to blend together makes it that way it gets very tedious. And the fact of the matter that the main quest is basically go here, get a dungeon, go here, get a dungeon, and you pretty much by this point know what to expect. And it's a pretty linear quest and whatnot that really doesn't have like any interesting deviation or anything so far. It's just pretty much get peace, go to next dungeon, find out where it is, go to next dungeon. It's just very bland at best. And yeah, the mechanics of this game not the most fun. The fact of the matter that crashes constantly is torturous. The vendor screen, every time we have to sell things, we end up having to spend 40 to 50 minutes selling things. That's not a fun system, but it's something that we have to deal with because we want to get the maximum amount of gold we can, so that way we can actually purchase everything we want without worry. So yeah, it's an extremely frustrating and tedious system to try and deal with. Not really fun at all. And yeah, basically it's just very tedious systems. Um, trying to manage the inventory isn't really the best because you have to navigate through a bunch of your armor and whatnot. and it would be nice if there was a way to hide your armor so that way you didn't have to like scroll through that every single time. It's almost like you're being punished for wearing armor, and it would be nice if I could just have like a nice separable tab from that from everything else. That way it was hidden. But yeah, a lot of things aside, just the mechanics of the game itself is very clunky, and the worst thing of it all is the fact of how much it crashes. Especially this part alone, I was thinking about it, and this isn't the first time it's crashed like this. I remember Temple of Agamemnus being this frustrating because of how much it crashed. So yeah, this game is just very, very crash prone. It's not a good design at all. Um, Part of it might be DOS bots. From what I've seen, DOS bots likes to crash a lot. Either I play a lot of unstable DOS games, or they really crash a lot. And I'm just playing, because when I played some of the Doom betas, they crashed a lot like this. Though that's because they're probably betas, and betas are unstable as. So yeah, that's not probably the best example, but it's the closest I got, and so the answer might be DOS bots, but I'm more prone to think that this game is just very, very unstable, especially since a lot of them are memory-based errors. All of a sudden, it'll just pop up with memory insufficient or whatnot, or we'll get random weird things, such as that high-pitched weird, crying or whatnot, or whatever it was that we got earlier today. We get really weird stuff happen in this game. That's one thing that you can say is very interesting, is the fact that you let everything go through. There's a lot of weird things that suddenly show up, like missing letters to things or whatnot, and weird music playing, and it's really weird. It's like they're almost trying to mess with you and make it to like a horror-based game, but it's not. And that's exactly the thing. It's the fact of the matter that it's like they're adding it's like the DOS is trying to mess with you and really warp the genre into some weird twisted thing. But it's interesting, and those anomalies are definitely like definitely interesting moments. Anyway, I've been rambling. I think I stopped at before 3 o'clock. When I've seen 3 hours, and now it's over 3 hours, 3:12. So yeah, I probably should stop talking. So, well, that in mind, thank you very much all for watching. Next time we'll be checking out the Crystal Tower, and I shall see you all later.